Welcome to From the Driver's Seat, the Averitt podcast for all Averitt drivers to keep up with news and information across our network. Make sure to subscribe on your preferred podcasting app to make sure you're notified as soon as every episode drops. And now, hosting from the driver's seat, Director of Driver Services, David Broyles.
Hey everybody, it's David Broyles, and today we have From the Driver's Seat podcast and got a great guest. It's Dan Singer. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great, David. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
Likewise.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about dedicated, obviously. And how long have you been over the dedicated group for us?
That started, I started with the company. We still had Averitt Logistics, which no longer exists, back in 96, but dedicated and logistics rolled up under one group. I believe that was August of 2000.
So you've basically been there since the beginning almost with the dedicated side, and a lot of growth in those years, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We did right at about $314 million last year in 2023.
Wow, that's amazing. If you thought back 20-something years ago when you first started, you said, I don't know if we'll ever get that big or not, right?
The whole company, as a matter of fact, did about that much revenue, and that was kind of a personal goal I set for myself, was for dedicated to reach the revenue levels that the company was at that time. And we did that last year.
Well, that's great. It just keeps growing.
Yep.
Every year it's always better, it seems like, and you've done a great job leading that group, and it's been a good group. And talk a little bit about where we're at with dedicated this year and what we see in the future for the dedicated group this year. I think it's all good, right?
Yeah, it is. The economy, different industries are still experiencing, different impacts of the economy, but by and large, everyone is back in growth mode. We've still got, last year we renewed probably double digit, 14, 15 contracts. This year we have just a few to renew, but those are tracking really well, and we're starting to see an uptick in the number of bid opportunities that are coming out to us. And it's a good mix. Some large retailers, we've got, a couple Walmarts that we're working on, and then, some others, more in the 10 to 30, 50 unit fleet size. But it's all good. It's good for us to have a mix of industries and fleet sizes. But we're really focused on those opportunities that are in our footprint.
And what's really great about that is it gives, getting those different accounts. Mm-hmm. Allows drivers to transfer into whatever might fit their needs, right? I mean, every driver has a different need, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is one small example, but if you think of our flex driver fleet, right now we probably have 33, 35 associates there. Probably half of them have been there for, 2 years plus, but half of them, it's kind of a good on-ramp. They come in, they test drive several different sites, pick one that they want to go to, and then they transfer whenever they're ready. Yeah. So, and we see that also, between sites. And a lot of times, we're able to use transfers to facilitate personal moves where people, their life is changing. So they're moving from Atlanta to Florida or Florida to Nashville, and we operate throughout our network. So we usually have an opportunity to offer.
And, like truckload drivers, they come in sometimes and they're over the road and they may be with us for a while, and they look over and all of a sudden they see maybe they're Columbia, for instance, and they see the Costco account. We have a need over there. Yep. It's a home daily position. And they're able to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to transfer. And that's just something that no other company really. Trucking company, we have the LTO group, we have the dedicated group, and we have the truckload group. Yep. So they have opportunities to match whatever they need, and dedicated has a lot of home daily and over the road, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you and I were just at Cardinal Glass a couple of weeks ago, and we spoke to a lot of associates that were formerly with truckload. So, Cardinal was a good opportunity for them at the time, go from running over the road to home daily for the Cardinal Glass operation. But we have examples like that throughout the system.
Yeah, because some of the accounts that you have, some of them are gone 2 days, 1 day, or 2 or 3 days, or some of them are gone all week. Mm-hmm. And we have a couple of accounts like pods that are gone longer than a week at a time and travel further out. But so there's a lot of mix, and it provides a lot of opportunities for our drivers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think we've got something for everybody.
I hope so. Between LTL, truckload, and dedicated, we certainly have something for everybody, right?
That's a great point. because we really we used to have restrictions on transfer policies.
Right.
And I think it's 30 days.
30 days now.
Which, I to me, I think that makes most sense. We want to make sure we don't lose any good associates. And I think we had a couple instances where we felt we might lose somebody if we weren't able to execute that transfer. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. These are good people that have been with us, and they went through the process to get on board with us. Let's not lose them.
Right.
Let's keep them in the company. If another business unit's going to get them, and sometimes dedicated wins, sometimes another one of the verticals win, but overall the company wins when we keep them.
And, this year we've made a conscious effort to try to go visit more of the sites and have food with us. In a lot of cases it's Milt who cooks for us all the time at Truckload, but we're having more opportunities to go out and meet with the drivers, and we've already done that this year.
Oh yes, we're off to a fast start, and that pertains both to the larger visits, where it includes driver services and HR and marketing communications, but we're also doing the same thing within our dedicated central staff. So myself included, and our directors and our SOMs, we're all committed to spending more time out in the field this year.
And it's been great. I think you and I have been on several trips together already this week. And, I enjoy getting out and talking to the drivers and talking. It seems like all the dedicated drivers are always happy and in a good mood. Really recently, the last 3 or 4 we've been on have been really good visits.
Yep, absolutely. And, that's a testament to a lot of things, but, it all starts with our culture. If the company is doing the right things in terms of policies and benefits and things like that, and if leadership is doing the right things in the way they conduct day-to-day operations, we should always have associates who are happy.
That's right.
But that said, getting out face to face with our folks is also opportunities to find out what things can we get better at. And I'm kind of proud at the degree to which we solicit feedback from our associates. I mean, right. It includes, those less formal visits, but think about, the work hound surveys
right.
that we issue, and driver services is always doing surveys of different segments of the company. So I think we do a pretty good job of trying to keep, kind of our finger on the pulse of, what's on the minds of our associates.
I absolutely do. And we were able to help several drivers that had small issues, no big issues the last 2 weeks, I don't think.
No.
But we were able to help them with some things that they wanted help with, and, even ordering uniforms and things like that. And we answered some questions. A question I get every once in a while from dedicated associates, they'll see maybe Truckload, hey, they got 5 new trucks this week. I saw them out on the Nashville yard. How come I can't have a new truck yet? And I know each answer is a little different. Can you address that about why they maybe they can't have a new truck this year? But maybe you can explain why.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the entire company is on the same rotation standard. So every standard trailer, roll door, swing door, is on an 8-year depreciation cycle, and sleepers and day cabs are on a 5-year depreciation cycle. Now, every now and then, we may end up moving some equipment between sites from one site to the next, but by and large, it's on that trade cycle. Actually, we probably last year and the year before, we probably got a little bit ahead of schedule, and I think our average tractor life, day cabs and sleepers included, is somewhere south of 2.7 years, which is pretty good for the industry. So, but
you're also bound by the contract requirements and on cost, right?
Yes. So, the way our P&Ls are set up, they are specific units that are attached to that site's P&L. But if a unit reaches its normal depreciation, it's still going to go regardless.
Right.
We're not going to retain equipment beyond the standard Averitt life cycle.
Right.
It's depreciable life.
Right. But it may just be varied. I mean, it changes for every site, because that site may have started a year ago and had brand new trucks. So it may be 3 years, 4 years. And while another site may get new trucks, it's not all dedicated. It's when they start the contract.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. So whether it's a renewal where it just happens to time out that we got a bunch of tractors that are 4.5, 5 years old, or it could be a renewal where it was a 3-year term and we're renewing for 2 years. Well, that tractor still has those 2 years left on the life.
Right. Hey, I think, you mentioned, about 2.7 years or something like that on trucks. That's amazing for a company our size, I think. And truckload's actually a little bit, is that good or better? And same thing with LTL. That's amazing that we have that new of equipment across the system, really.
Oh, absolutely. And, we invest a lot into our equipment and our facilities.
Right.
But staying on the topic of equipment, I would put the age of our fleet up against any carrier of any mode of transportation anywhere in the country.
And I know sometimes drivers talk about the noises going on inside the truck with following too
safety
close
alerts.
They feel that. But, it's making our drivers safer. We know that we're having less accidents every year. The accidents numbers go down. All that stuff, all the safety stuff is really good stuff for us, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's not to say we never have calibration issues, because sometimes we do. And if we have anyone who believes that there might be something like that going on, talk to your site manager, and I guarantee you they're going to say, get it to the shop as quickly as possible, because we may have a calibration issue. But,
right.
Sometimes it can seem like a nuisance, even if it is operating properly. But ultimately, the goal is the safety of our associates.
Right. Something else I've enjoyed when we've been out, we got to meet a lot of the frontline leaders and the site managers. I've met most of the site managers, but we get to meet the frontline leaders. And I'm really impressed with the leadership we have. And I think we spend a lot of time training the dedicated associates in leadership. And I think that's showing through, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. We always have had and will forever have a huge focus on developing our folks and training them up. And one thing that I'm most proud of is just the percentage of folks that are in leadership roles that started in driving positions.
Right.
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's a clear, solid majority of our leaders have started out as driving associates.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, we were just, on a couple visits where, I talked to some people that we think, they expressed an interest and they clearly have an aptitude. It's not for everybody. Not everybody has an interest in that, but our first choice is to identify our leadership from the ranks of the operation, because they know it best.
Right. And I think Dedicated does a great job in that. And if you look at that, you'll see a lot of leadership. Like I said, it comes from the drivers, and that's a good thing, because it develops a relationship with that driver, and because that person can understand.
They know what the day of the life of is for that driver out there, and we all know it's one of the toughest jobs out there. So for our leaders to have a solid appreciation of that, I think that's invaluable.
The other thing I noticed as I was out and about and watching all the folks at the dedicated sites, it seemed like everybody was in uniform. And, we were out there and we had some help from marketing, and had people out there that was helping place orders, because we're still in the first quarter, and so they get the discount and everything. So a lot of people were placing orders, and that's good to see everybody placing orders, right?
It is. And I hope no one feels like if they're approached by their leader about, hey, something about the uniform, that I hope no one feels singled out. It's so core to our culture, and it has been for over 50 years. We challenge our leaders every single day to make sure that they're honoring that part of our culture. It's the uniformity, it's the appearance of our equipment, the cleanliness. It all ties together, and it's kind of at the center of who we are.
It really is. And, I agree with you about the uniforms, and, people sometimes may get a little lax sometimes.
It can happen.
But it's not a personal issue when somebody says, hey, you need to fix something or change something or whatever. And so I think it's just, like you said, maintaining our culture. Our culture is what sets us apart and makes us different.
Absolutely. It's our secret sauce. It's the one thing. And it's a huge thing, but it's the one thing that makes us different from every other company in the industry.
I think that's one thing that we show a lot, that we really care for our associates, and that really is our culture, and that starts with Gary Sasser on down, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Gary cares for everybody.
He sets the tone. He sets the stage, and we all follow through with it.
Yeah, and it's leadership. It starts with Gary, and it starts with the leadership, and it just trickles down, right? It just trickles down to everybody.
Yep.
But that's the culture. The culture starts there, and it works all the way down, and it continues every year after year. When we replace leadership, this leadership came from within, so everybody understands the culture, and that's what makes us the best company out there.
Oh yeah, and I I think we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. I mean, we should ask sometime to get a report of the number of leaders that have promoted up through the ranks, but it's off the charts when you compare it to any other company.
Oh yeah. Well, I appreciate it. We just kind of want to come in and get a little update. And I know we have a lot of new possibilities coming up on new contracts and growing. And obviously, it's going to grow this year. It grows every year, right?
It does. It does. We don't go backwards.
We don't go backwards. We just keep moving forwards, right? And you don't sit still and you don't go backwards. We always want to continue to grow. And y'all have been the epitome of that. It's done great over the years. I know we're going to have another great year this year. And I'm looking forward to being out there a lot with you and seeing all the drivers. And this year, we're going to get more dedicated sites. I think that's exciting. And of course, we'll still be at all the sites we always go to before, but we're also going to add those dedicated sites in. And like you said, y'all are even going to have more that maybe I won't be attending as well.
Exactly. Because we're going to make sure that all of our folks at every site sees leadership. With some, if it's not Milt, it's going to be something right? Along those lines. Hopefully with the whole larger crew, but certainly it's not going to be limited to that.
Well, I'm going to do my best to be out there as much as I can with you, and we'll go out there and we'll get to shake hands and say howdy to everybody as much as possible and solve issues that they might be having. So I'm looking forward to that. Anything last thing you want to tell everybody, Dan?
Just that I appreciate everything that every one of you do each and every day. Like I said before, I know this is a tough job. Everyone has choices on where they could be. And I'm so proud of the fact that you've all chosen to be here and stay with Averitt. And I just want to thank you for everything you do.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Dan, for coming in and seeing us and talking to us. We appreciate your time as always.
Sure thing. Thank you.
We appreciate y'all listening in. And if you get the opportunity, pass that along to some of your friends. I think it's a good news from Dedicated. We're looking forward to growth, and I'll see y'all on the road. Thank y'all so much.